Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. Boy, this week is going by quick, isn't it? You know, happy Thanksgiving for all of you guys that are in the United States and are celebrating. Canada's, I think, was last month. For my friends that are in Canada that do listen, because I know there are a few of you. But we have so much to be thankful for this holiday season, especially Thanksgiving Day. Let's talk about what happened today. So the Fourth Circuit Court, which is out of Maryland, decided that their pistol ban that Maryland has put in place throughout Maryland is unconstitutional. So, you know, all those people that are black-pilled and keep saying we're losing and we're not winning and that there's all kinds of bad stuff going on in the world, and there is, don't get me wrong, we keep winning in court when it comes to the Constitution. Now, what are the next steps for people in Maryland? What they basically found in Maryland is that owning a gun in Maryland is onerous. You can't do it very easily. That they have lots of restrictions and lots of things that are hurdles in just purchasing a gun. And the court found in a case, in this case, in a 2-to-1 ruling, that the defendants were correct, that you cannot purchase a gun here, that there is no historical precedence. So this is the Bruin decision coming again to rear its head and piss off people, along with the Heller decision, especially on the left, the gun-hating people, the people that are wanting to unarm, or disarm, I should say, American people. They're not allowing this. They're basically saying, because of the Bruin decision, that you have to use historical precedent to show that the laws that you're trying to put on the books are actually going to get you somewhere. So we have a lot to be thankful for, that we keep winning in the legal battles. And yes, it's a long, hard road, and it's a long, hard process, but anything worthwhile is always long and hard. Ask any lady. That's a pun intended, that's a joke, and you absolutely know what I'm talking about. Anything that is worthwhile takes work, you know. This shows that we're winning, okay? You know, I have a lot to be thankful for. I'm thankful for, you know, new job opportunities, new career opportunities. I do this as a hobby. You know, I wish that this was my primary means of making a living, but it's not. I do this for fun, because I enjoy getting on the mic and actually talking about the stuff that's happening in the 2A, talking about news, researching. I have, during the COVID stuff, I really got into researching stuff like this, researching politics, checking out demographics. You know, demographics is the study of how people basically exchange goods and how people live. And it is also how the populace of a country or a world, our world, exist. And what you're seeing throughout the world is a demographic collapse, with an exception to the Western world. And when I say the Western world, specifically I mean the United States, Mexico, and South America. So the Western world is in better shape than China, Russia, Ukraine, Germany, as much as that gives me heartburn because I love Germans and I love German food. Germans are great people. I've met a lot of great Germans. But what has happened around the world is that there isn't a population large enough to replace the retiring generation. And what that causes is a lot of economic and other things to happen. Now, it's not going to be overnight. It's going to start going slow and then fast. But what I notice about this is that we're winning. You know, you cannot look at this stuff. You cannot have a libertarian president, which I got it wrong. I think I said it was Brazil. It's actually Argentina. That a libertarian president of a large country is now a thing. You know, as an ANCAP, as someone who is in that space. This is a win. You know, I wish it was in the United States, because we need more populist, despite what you hear from some economists like Peter Zehan or demographic people. which I like Peter Zion. I think he's right in a lot of ways. I think he's wrong in some others, especially since you can tell his bias towards the United States, especially towards one side of the political aisle. And I really have come to the conclusion after COVID and after living through all this stuff that both left and right are kind of crap. You know, if you look at the policies that have happened from either side, neither one of them actually align with American values, in my opinion. Okay, and when I say American values, my core value has to do, because the Second Amendment is so dear and near to my heart, is freedom. You know, that's why I like ANCAPs, or the libertarians. And the reason why is that they are, and an ANCAP is an anarchist capitalist. Okay, I firmly believe that nothing in the world has ever existed worthwhile or gained steam without the free market to exist. That you have to have a free market where exchange of ideals, exchange of goods, exchange of anything happens at will without government oversight, or heavy government oversight, because it influences one way or another what capitalism really is. You know, if you look at these leftists that come out and say we should do these socialist or communist ideas, name one socialist or communist ideal that worked. I mean, let's just be honest. When the wall fell in Berlin, the communist or the socialist, they fled to the West. You know, if you look at what's happened with Venezuela, where are they going to? They're coming to the United States. They're fleeing their country anywhere else but living in a socialist utopia or communist utopia. I think the Second Amendment is the linchpin that stops people in the United States from trying to force communism or socialism down our throat, because there is that safety check that says, no, we're not going to allow that. And I'm extremely thankful for that. I'm extremely thankful for my faith, for God himself. And the reason why I say that is because I've had a different walk. I've had a lot of challenges this year. And there's always been one guiding principle that's always got me out of it. You can call it blind luck. You can call it faith. You can call it whatever. I'm calling it faith because it seems to work, and it seems to, well, it doesn't seem to work. It works. You know, that's just me. That's my end of my evangelism for tonight. But what I'm extremely thankful for all of you, all of my listeners, however few there are, however many that this grows to, because you guys give me that last little bit of motivation to keep trying, keep doing research, keep talking about what I see, and speak truth to power. You know, I've given you the spiel on why New Mexico Black Rifle Operators exist, and it's out of a need in New Mexico, living behind a blue wall, of actually trying to take some sort of action to against what we see here, what I have seen here. Okay? In New Mexico, you have a lot of leftists, and I, you know, again, left and right really doesn't matter, but I label them leftists. And most people do, because they're anti-gun, they're anti-freedom, and they're more socialist and more communist, to be blunt. But what you see with those people is blind adoration towards a person or an ideal, without looking at the repercussions of what that is. You know, these are the people that think that if you go to the store, that milk just magically appears there. They don't know that someone had to raise the cow, someone had to milk the cow, and someone had to process that product to get it to your shelf. You know, these are the people that think that, well, we fight homelessness by giving someone a home, not knowing, just giving them a house, not knowing that it takes, you know, maintenance. It takes other resources to keep a house up. And for someone who's mentally ill, which is the vast majority of the people on the street, or people that don't want to be in homes, they do not want to have they don't want to have rules. They don't want to live inside the system for drugs or for other reasons. They just decided that's their lifestyle they want to be in. You can't take someone out of that and just throw them in a house and expect success. That's never how this has worked out. To get back, what I'm talking about is hard work and effort is part of the American experience. Our founding fathers didn't just magically appear and make our country. They had to fight. They had to think about how they're going to organize it and how they were going to make it. That's what I'm grateful for, is that my parents, for all their flaws, and there are many flaws for my parents and my upbringing, and probably like the same for all of you, because they're human, gave me this work ethic, this ethos, this code that is uniquely American. I can't say that if you follow your heart, you're always going to succeed. However, with hard work and effort, you're either going to come into two categories. You're either going to win or you're going to learn. And you're going to learn enough to win eventually. That, to me, is quintessentially American. And that's why the American country, as long as we can still instill those thoughts, those values, that faith, faith in yourself, faith that comes from God himself, in yourself and into everyone around you, being around those people, being around your crew, being around your people is infectious, and it spreads. And the more we do this in our country, the more we have to be thankful for. It's funny to see these people that are always saying, if you got to eat in peace, thank a soldier. I used to be one of those guys, and I still am to some degree. But what I worry about with soldiers is how many times have we deployed them in the last 30 years for the military-industrial complex. They weren't doing much for freedom. They ended up causing other problems. And this is where that populist movement, the one is very friendly to the 2A, comes from. Is we've seen the repercussions of those actions, and we should be thankful that we can see them if you're not a mindless idiot. If you're not one of those people that isn't into self-thinking, self-actualization, knowing that you have to do something to get something, because that's part of life, you probably aren't part of the 2A. And what I've noticed about the 2A culture, not just the people, the culture, the people, the guns, is that we are those people. There's not a one of us I've ever met in the 2A that didn't go to work, didn't get up. They may have hated their job, but damn it, they got up to go do it because it provided the means for them to do other things. A lot of times we end up doing that just to make a living so that we can pursue our other passions. That is American in itself. Now, if you can make those passions into a living, that's another thing. We each have that potential. First, you have to be humble enough to know you don't know everything. I get things wrong all the time. Starting a new path in my new career, I've learned a lot that I've been trained a lot in a lot of ways. Each piece has given me those pieces to put together in a successful puzzle, in a successful path forward. As we celebrate the holiday, don't forget to give thanks to everything that deserves it. Your God, your country, your work ethic, the fact that we do live in a free enough country where it's still kind of okay to express what you feel. There's still countries that's not possible. If you look at Russia, you look at China, if you speak out against the government, you're gone, you're done. We still can here. You're seeing the success of podcasters and media personalities, alternative media personalities, because people are tired of the regurgitation of the same stuff. That's what focused me to make New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. Because you hear enough in the 2A world where you see people speak up and they have no clue what they're talking about. And it made me realize very early on that if these people don't understand anything about firearms, they probably don't understand anything else they're speaking about. They're just talking out of the side of their mouth and their butt and have no clue what they're actually talking about. That goes with economics, that goes with guns, that goes with anything else. This is what made me really stand sideways against the government and against politicians. Because anyone that seeks power willingly is usually not on the side of us. They're usually doing it for their own selfish needs. But why we should be thankful is because we are in that space where we recognize all that is going wrong and all that is going right. And for all that is going wrong, there's something that's gone right, even as small as you got a cup of coffee. You ate today. You have a roof over your head. There are times in our life where we go through some of the hardest places we've ever been in. You know, where you doubt the ability to go forward, and yet someone casts a line to you. Maybe it's just a friend. Maybe it's God that actually helped you. You know, it's up to you to figure that out. Free will is a strange thing. And that's why I love the 2A guys, is because we always have had free will. You know, that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for so much right now. Thankful for my vehicle that gets me back and forth to work. You know, I'm thankful for the means to simply exist right now. And it isn't until you face having all that ripped away from you that you actually start to see those pieces of life that you're thankful for. That is an amazing thing. So as we celebrate this holiday, this day of Thanksgiving, remember what it's all about. It's not about the turkey. It's not about the stuffing or the mashed potatoes, even though those are wickedly cool, or the pumpkin pie and all the toppings you put on the pumpkin pie to make it even more awesome. It's about being thankful. It's about being able to, you know, one of the things I hope to do is to take my kids out shooting. You know, it's something that my dad used to do with us on Christmas and Thanksgiving. And we'll see what happens. My kids are older, and they've probably got 2 or 3 Thanksgivings they have to go to, meals or whatever, to meet their friends or their family, their other family, or their significant other's family. But Dad always has one, because that's what I've always done, because that's what my dad did for me. I'm thankful for that opportunity, no matter how hard and how stressful that type of thing is. I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve my kids. I'm thankful to see my family, what little bit I still have. And when I say my family, I mean my friends that have become family, as well as my family. Because at any given time, all that can be stripped away from you. So there is a ton to be thankful for. And I'm having a hard time being black-pilled right now, where I can't see the positive and the good of what's happening in my life and what I'm seeing in the world. You know, there's a lot of bad going on, don't get me wrong. But I see a lot of positive. When you see people turning towards faith, when you see people turning towards or recognizing that things are not correct. You know, how many stories have you heard? You know, we have comedians that are known for being pro-Trump, or not pro-Trump, pro-Biden, pro-Democrat, coming out and saying that they cannot in good conscience vote for this guy given what they're seeing right now. That self-actualization, that self-realization what you're seeing is people waking up to the reality of the situation on the ground. That is something to be thankful for. As I said, that cup of coffee, that meal you're about to sit down to, that is something to be super thankful for. Your job that you hate is probably something someone hopes that they get to. You know, you are so blessed. Recognize that. And enjoy the hell out of the 2A while you can. You got a long weekend. And I hope you don't spend your day, if you've ever worked in any retail setting ever. Black Friday is not a thing that should ever be celebrated. If you've ever worked in that retail environment during that time, that's the apocalypse. You see the worst of humankind possible. You see people do things for deals that make no sense. And I once saw someone get punched, an old lady get punched for an Xbox, or not an Xbox, a PlayStation. Why? Because of scarcity. Because it was the hot toy or the hot item that Christmas. I am exceptionally thankful that I'm not working retail. And that on Black Friday, I'm going to sleep in late and do whatever I want to. But I am not going shopping. Because my kids are old enough to know nowadays that it isn't what you give them or how expensive it is. It's the thought that actually matters. And everyone else in my life is at that point where they'd rather see you and just hang out with you than receive some idle gift. That is what I'm thankful for. That is what the 2A is all about. Is that we know we're going to win. It's going to take time, effort, and lots of hard work, but we're winning. Like, share, subscribe, but most importantly, be great and be thankful and have a happy Thanksgiving and a happy holiday. I will return Monday. Be great.